You're listening to Passages, a podcast about great quotes, life, and the wisdom of the Bible. And now your hosts, Drew Kaiser, Jason Pulliam, and Tim Layton.
Oh, yeah, we're here. I needed a new way to bring us in.
I like it.
That was weird, but I do like that our energy has come up, because when we first sat down in this room tonight, I stretched and went, oh, and Tim went.
We had to talk a little while to perk
I
ourselves.
feel like
right.
our energy's back up
It's a little better.
bit.
We're ready to
We've
go.
recorded, or we didn't record, but we've done about 30 minutes of a podcast before we even got started
Yeah,
tonight.
I
so
had it running, but I thought it would be in our best interest to delete
probably
it. So
best to delete it.
it has been lost to the sands of time.
Yeah.
And will forever be lost. As a lot of things that we
It'll be like that proverbial
be.
the podcast number 1 that we did that will never be heard.
that's in the vault.
Ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're going to start tonight with a rock news update.
Rock news.
That's my favorite one.
That's
I love
good.
that one.
So I'm going to start with. So the idea for this segment came from. We may have even talked about. There's a group named Oasis. Right, that is.
You're acting like it's an obscure
I don't know
group.
who they are. I mean, you
His
know who.
face is all scrunched
Drew,
up like
do you
I
know
think
who
it's pronounced
Jason,
Oasis.
y'all ever heard of Oasis?
Yeah.
Oasis.
That one song they played over and over and over again in 1990, none of your business.
Back in the last century.
Y'all may not know me, but I came from the last century.
Don't all their songs sound like that one song?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, so Oasis is announcing a North American reunion tour. They've been on a 15-year hiatus. I've heard people say that they wonder if it's going to make it more than 2 or 3 dates before it becomes like another behind the music episode.
Yeah,
where
they had
get
some
in a fight.
personal
Yeah,
issues.
so I thought that was interesting, and then I saw one today. You guys may know this. I don't listen to a lot of folk. I think
Definitely don't listen to Oasis.
I think my musical interest died in the 80s or something, and I still listen to them. I mean, I love music.
some of them are still living.
Yeah. So, the Gang of Four, you ever heard of them?
No,
It
it doesn't ring a bell.
Wait, is that the Highwaymen?
No.
No.
Oh, the
different
last
gang.
highwayman
So
died.
this is some
Yeah,
other
no,
Chris-
Willie Nelson's still
Willie
living.
Nelson's 91, still going.
Well,
Fueled
clearly
by
y'all
weed.
didn't know that the highly influential UK post-punk legends are going to play their iconic 1979 debut album, Entertainment, from front to back. Gang of Four. Get your tickets now. 2025 North American Farewell Tour.
Rock news.
You
So-
heard it
Had to plug
first
again.
here.
So here's my question for you guys. So that just sort of prompted, the thought of, is there a group out there? And I've pitched this to a couple of people tonight, a group that I was sitting with at dinner back in the back for Wednesday.
Was that tonight?
It was.
Oh, I missed that.
And so is there a group that you would love to get together for a reunion tour? And we were having this discussion, and I decided if the question is that you wish would get back together, because I started telling them a number of the ones that I would want to get back together would have to come back from the other side.
Well,
That's
that was
my question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is this
Can we bring them back?
hypothetical or
and so since this is our wish, why not? Right? So
okay?
I'm gonna
that's
let y'all
easy.
I'm gonna let y'all think while I hit this article, top 10 bands we wish would reunite.
Okay, now I'm going to lay down a ground rule.
Okay.
I think it's necessary.
All right.
You can't, since we're bringing back the dead,
Yeah.
you can't include bands that ended because of a death.
I wanna
Ergo,
do- I
Led
wanna-
Zeppelin.
You can or cannot?
Can't.
Can't.
So you can't
so I
say
can't bring
Led
back
Zeppelin
Skinner.
because they never broke up, but it has to be a band that had a breakup.
Okay, so it can't be Skinner who died in a plane crash, right?
Right, because
Yeah.
Okay.
Skinner's
All
doing
right.
the best they can to.
Yeah.
All right.
Which means I can't
All
do
right.
the
There has to be
highway.
bad
The
blood.
highwaymen never broke up. They just have died. I love them. They're great.
So here's
all
right. Here's a all right. Here, while y'all are thinking, and stop that. Here's an article from WatchMojo.com. Top 10 bands we wish would reunite. So they probably didn't do the shackles of death. But anyhow, here's theirs. Number 10, the Smiths.
that was gonna be one of my
Was
bands.
it going to be one of yours? All right. Well, you can reuse
Johnny Marr and Morrissey.
All right. So
That was a
says
bad breakup.
They were active for only 5 years. They did 4 studio albums, but they had a
Changed
big
a lot of
impact.
music.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Number 9, Genesis, and they mentioned sort of the pre-Phil Collins Genesis, the Peter Gabriel and his buddies from Charterhouse School. So anyhow,
I wasn't aware that. Well, I guess I knew there was a pre-Phil Collins, but
yeah.
I'm really having to think.
I don't know anybody who's longing for those.
Number 8 is Oasis. We just talked about them.
Yeah.
Number 7, Talking Heads.
Didn't know they broke up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Well, David Byrne has been touring solo, so I guess there were other members
would
in
you
that
want to see
group.
this again? Same as it ever was.
Yeah, the guy in the big suit.
You may ask yourself. I don't know. Anyhow, Talking Heads. Number 6, ABBA. Have y'all been yearning for an ABBA reunion?
Don't care about that at all.
Some reason didn't think so. All right, number 5, The Police.
I thought about them.
So I saw Sting on some late
Sting
night
is
show
doing
the other
something
day.
new. Did he perform?
He did. He looks very old.
Ooh, I heard his new track, and he does not sound like he used to sound. Might be time to hang it up.
Yeah. Number 4 is the Fugees.
Okay, Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, Lauryn Hill, Wyclef John.
Wycliffe John.
Okay. Number 3 is Black Sabbath. That would probably fall into the wish. Like, I wish Ozzy.
But didn't they
Still
break
had
up
a
and just?
brain
But
and
didn't they
could-
just hire
Oh,
a
are
new
you saying
lead
that
singer?
because?
Did they?
Yeah, I mean, not
Well,
recently,
that's something we've
but-
got to talk about. Is there a lot of bands whose frontman left and they replaced him?
Yeah. One of mine's going to be I want the front man back. There, probably the main one on my list will be I want the real front man back. You
I
can
know who
probably
you're
guess
talking about.
pretty
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
Steve Perry.
I knew it. I knew it.
Number 2, Guns N' Roses. And this
There's
one
one
says,
on my list right
says
there.
a band that's actually still in existence, but it says the Guns N' Roses lineups altered almost entirely except for Axl Rose, right? Who's
Right,
related
yeah.
to the Knost, right? In some
Okay.
way?
No, that was
Slashes.
Slash.
Oh, that's Slash.
Married into the
There's some
family.
kind
yeah.
of connection.
It was a weird one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Bob's got a cool picture of himself with Slash.
It's awesome.
Yeah, at a birthday party.
Hey, did you know Ray saw Charles Barkley today and spoke to him in the parking lot at Walmart? got a
It's
story
always
for
he's
you.
always at Walmart.
Yeah. I saw him at Lowe's, and I walked past him at Gold's Gym on 280.
Were you lost?
It was a long time ago.
What were you doing at Gold's Gym?
It was pre-Jonathan.
Okay, so this was
What was Charles Barkley and Tim doing at Gold's Gym?
I know what they weren't doing. Working out.
Hey, I was coming out, and he was going in. So the one of us that hadn't worked out was him.
That's
How you
true.
like
That's true.
that?
You had been in there pumping iron.
Number 1 on this list, so that we can.
Were you wearing a spandex suit by chance?
It's entirely possible. Number 1, Rage Against the Machine. Does that mean anything to you guys?
Yeah, I know them.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think the world needs them to get back together.
All right. So let's get to good stuff now. So we have suspended,
Disbelief.
disbelief, and anything is possible except what's the rule? You can't have died.
They have to have bad blood. There has to be some.
Death can't be the
Like
reason
you can't
for the
say
breakup.
you
Right,
can't
right.
say Nirvana because they ended when
they
their
broke
lead
up
singer
because
died.
yeah, they didn't break up. And Led Zeppelin,
All right. So I mean, all right. You want to start, True?
Well, the
let's just
obvious
sort of
choice
rotate it.
is the Beatles.
The Beatles, absolutely.
I mean, I was thinking about them.
I'm surprised they didn't make that list you had.
Well, because
They were
John
okay,
and
yeah, that's right, that's right,
George
that's
are
right.
dead.
I forgot they were not playing.
But
our
you
game.
think about it, this is so long ago, it doesn't occur to you how short everything happened. The Beatles were together roughly 10 years.
Right.
So let's say 60 to 70. John Lennon was killed in 80.
right.
So they were only broken up for 10 years. I feel like they would have had a reunion concert. They were getting closer, and post John's death, they've done a number of projects where they've dug up some old tracks by John. And this most recent thing, somehow they worked in John and George into a recording with Paul and Ringo.
Yeah.
But the Beatles, you know, that's something the world always wanted and never happened.
While we're in the Beatles genre, how about the Rolling Stones back when Keith Richards was alive?
Oh wait,
We all
the
know
ghost
he's
of
been
Richards
dead for
is
a
still
long
touring
time,
with him.
right?
I hate to tell you this, he's still playing, or something.
No, he's not still alive. He died
something that
15, 20
animates
years
his
ago.
body is still playing. Yeah.
No,
Some
just
kind of
a little joke there.
Beetlejuice thing going on.
All right, Jason, you got one?
Well, you know, the Judds, when they split, that was rough. No, I'm making that up totally.
Was there
But see,
a
some of my
Judds
groups,
breakup?
some of these groups have broken up and then have come back together to play. Like I went and saw the Eagles.
Yeah.
Great
I mean,
show.
that would have been top of my list for a long
me.
time, right? So,
The Eagles.
Okay,
Sorry,
thank
not
you.
the
oh,
Eagles.
Eagles. Yeah.
Now, one that it's weird music, not weird music. It's not your typical us guys are going to sit around and listen to this music. Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah,
They had some
I love
great
Simon and
They
Garfunkel.
had
cool.
some really cool songs, cool
And I don't-
melodies,
I
cool
think
harmonies.
Don't they get together occasionally?
I don't think they like each other. I don't
Really?
think
You
they
don't
have,
think so?
I don't even think they talk.
I think so.
I think
I think there may have been a moment or two where they've sung together over the years, but I don't
somebody
think
had a
that,
gun to their
They
head.
had that big
forcing them to.
reunion, like a free concert in Madison Square Garden back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I remember that was a big live event on TV. But
Guns
okay.
N' Roses was on my list, but he stole that one. I would have loved to have seen them in their heyday. I don't know that I'd want to see him now. Axl, is he 60 now? Screaming on
Well,
stage in tight clothes. Not
I saw
not a good
a
thing.
clip of him singing at Lisa Marie Presley's
it's not
funeral,
good.
and it was so bad. It was it was terrible.
Yeah,
I can't think of many other. I mean, there's some of those old groups that were like in your soul genres that broke up, but I don't know. I don't know who else I would go with.
Yeah, I want to see Journey with Steve Perry. I
Right.
really don't want to see Journey with the karaoke singer. I know he's good.
Journey with
I know
karaoke
he's
was
good.
pretty good. I saw him
I
perform.
know he's good.
He had a bad
He
night.
sounds very much like Steve Perry.
You
but-
know, your Hootie and the Blowfish situation happened to that guy just a couple weeks ago and made headlines.
Did they boo him off the
He
stage?
said his ear monitors went out and he sounded awful. It was an embarrassing moment for that guy.
You know, that's what I like about the singers from the 50s and 60s. They just sung. Ear monitor didn't matter. They weren't listening to them. They just sung, and they were good.
Yeah, but the stage noise probably wasn't as loud.
I'm sure it wasn't as loud.
You know,
That's
the Four
true.
Tops weren't doing like the Who.
Yeah, that is true. The Who did break up for a while. They got back together.
They're still together, I think. Yeah, there's a lot
they're
of
together
there are a lot
now,
of
yeah.
groups that have found a front man who mimics the original front man. You know, so you had Van Halen, but that wasn't a mimic. Like Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth, very different. But then, do y'all remember a '90s band called Sublime?
Yes.
They're touring with the son of the lead singer who died.
Yeah, somebody at dinner mentioned Sublime tonight and mentioned just what you said there, right?
Yeah, and then Stone Temple Pilots are touring with somebody.
because their lead singer died.
Somebody from another '90s group. Blink,
Blink 182.
maybe. I shouldn't be. I don't know what I'm talking
Now-
about. I just know they're touring with somebody.
Now,
that
didn't-
kind of sounds like Scott Weiland.
Didn't the original AC/DC singer, did he die or did he leave the band?
He couldn't hear anything anymore.
But they
and
brought
Axl
in a guy.
Rose
Yeah,
toured with them.
yeah. So that was an interesting pick.
So
Still
that's
the guy
happening
that wears
a lot.
The shorts is still in AC/DC, right?
I think
Angus
so.
Young, yeah.
Yeah.
Queen is doing this with
Yeah.
the American Idol guy, Adam something.
Adam Lambert. Yep.
yeah.
So
But
there's
but we
that
can't-
going on,
so
but that's not
I'd
a.
like Queen with Freddie Mercury, but I can't pick him because they split.
He
up
killed
when
the band by
died.
dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
as far as Bad Blood goes, I think we've named. You know, Tim. I'm really concerned about Radiohead right now because it's been several years,
Yeah.
and
I mean, I
two
think
of the
you can throw
Radiohead members.
I can, you know, even though they haven't necessarily said we've split up or whatever, Mackenzie was telling me there's been some beef between a couple of them, right? I mean,
nothing that I know of, but two of the band members formed another band. That can't be good.
Okay.
And they quit making Radiohead records.
I think he told me
as you probably have noticed.
I think he was telling me that Tom York and the guy that plays the Space Heater sort of had issues with each other. Is that right?
Well, the Space Heater broke, and Tom York would not approve the purchase of a new space heater.
Yeah.
And so,
well, they instead of a big space heater, they wanted to go with one of those little ceramic space
right,
heaters.
He wanted to downsize the space
they
heater.
couldn't get the same sound out of it. The ceramic just messed
and
with
it. Was kerosene, and they all started choking to death.
That may be the perfect example because they're all still alive.
Mm-hmm.
They're all still awesome, amazing, as
Tim knows.
As I'm familiar with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So it's a good list, and I'm sure that
I'm going to be thinking of others.
We'll think of others
all
as we go. Right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right,
guys. I had a interesting. Well, not an interesting. It was a kind of a routine thing that happens to us, but I want to talk about it because I want to go back to. Last week I talked a little about fears. I want to talk about one of my least favorite doctor's appointments that you have to go to in life. And I had to go to one today. No, it was not that one. There was no popping of the glove. I didn't ask for his glove back. Didn't ask for his glove back after the procedure or anything like that. But I had to go to the dentist today. Do y'all like going
I went
to the dentist?
Dentist today.
Well, let me tell you, my teeth, and they did a great job cleaning it. The lady I have that cleans it, wonderful. Fairly gentle.
Chicken dentist,
that's right.
Okay.
But my teeth are a little sore tonight, and I was sitting thinking, what am I going to talk about tonight? I had a political story, but I was like, I don't want to go political tonight. Let's just have fun. So I want to talk about the dentist. So I hate going to the dentist. I go because I took about 5 years off, and after 5 years of taking, this was when I first moved here from 2001 to about 2006.
It's hard to find your new dentist when you move.
Never went. Yeah, and I'd seen the same one since I was a kid, but never went to the dentist. And finally decided to go because, of course, I had a tooth hurting and ended up with like a root canal, 2 crowns, all kind of fillings. I mean,
did you have to do the deep cleaning?
I've never had the deep clean. I've heard about this was pre-deep clean, I think.
Yeah,
I'll
let you continue.
Yeah. So, I learned that I need to go. So I am religious about going every 6 months, but I hate it. My anxiety goes up. Like they ask, are you okay? And I'm like, because they got all the equipment in their mouth. It's miserable to me. But while I was sitting there today and she's picking at my teeth and cleaning them, I started wondering, I wonder where the anxiety from the dentist comes back to. And I started thinking back to my childhood, to Dr. Watts in Palmetto, Georgia. And when I was a young child and started seeing him, he would walk in like dentists do today. He would always wear like a nice tie or something like that because this was pre-casual dress and everybody wearing scrubs or whatever. But he would come in and clean your teeth. And then somewhere around 86 or 87, I went to the dentist and he walked in a hazmat suit. Do y'all remember the changeover that happened in the late 80s after the AIDS epidemic blew up? Do y'all remember going to the dentist and them having on all kind of protective gear or anything like that?
I don't remember that.
No.
Maybe it was just Dr. Watts, but I remember him coming in with like a mask and he had a face shield thing. And I wonder if that's not the source of my anxiety, but my teeth are hurting today. And I love that they always, when they're cleaning your teeth, so they take these awful. Have you ever looked over at the table before they go to work?
I try not to. I keep my eyes closed as much as possible.
It looks like something out of the movie Saw. Mm-hmm. There are tools and instruments that should never be touching human.
Have you seen Marathon Man?
No.
They torture Dustin Hoffman with dental.
Nope, don't want to see it.
Well, I want you to be forced to watch it. I want to be in the room with you.
It'd be like in this. What's the movie where they hold his eyelids open? Is that A Clockwork Orange where they make him watch?
I don't know. I
can't remember. Anyway, so
that sounds terrible.
It sounds awful, but I love how they're always picking at your teeth.
And every one of those instruments, they would say, "Don't you dare use that to pick
That's
your
what
teeth."
I was getting to.
Right?
They're like, "Now, what do you do with your teeth? And do you floss?" And I'm like, maybe twice a year when I come here.
Get a toothpick.
I will. I'll say I use a toothpick or a paper clip works great. And I told them that, and they're like, don't you
it's
should
like
never
14 of the instruments
like,
on that
you
tray.
should not use a paper clip to clean your teeth. And I'm like, well, if you get a piece of meat stuck in it and you don't have a toothpaste or a toothpick, you just take a paper clip, unwind it, use it, fold it back up so you can put it on papers later. No, I'm just kidding. You don't actually do that. But they actually
Note to
said,
self, never get a paper clip from Jason.
they actually said, you really shouldn't scrape your teeth with something metal. And I want to I'm like, pump the brakes here for a second. For the last 15, 20 minutes, you've been making me bleed, scraping my teeth with something metal.
Making me bleed my own blood.
And they would argue that I'm bleeding because I don't floss. Have you heard that one? Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
They're like, well, if you would floss more, your gums wouldn't be so sensitive. And I'm like, if you'd stop poking it with the sharp stick.
It's interesting. I haven't had this problem till I walked in here.
Yeah.
Let's just stop on the flossing because you slid right by the floss, but we share this because my favorite thing is, when's the last time you flossed? And it's like, if you'll go check the records and see when I was
calendar,
here last,
you did it.
That'd be it.
19 and none of your business.
Why is it so hard for me to get in between your teeth? I don't know. It's your own personal problem.
Right, that's what I'm paying
why
you
would
the big
anybody
bucks.
want to get in between my teeth? That's the question.
Well, ma'am, if you weren't using an anchor rope, you might be able to get in there. But
I like to use this floss that's double woven and, because you know where I've been. And where I go,
know.
Right?
And I know there's a certain hygienist you are trying to avoid when you go.
Can I break in? Can I break in here on this topic?
Bring it
I
on
know
in.
we have local listeners. I'm just going to go. So today I went to this place that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Did she walk in?
I had a hygienist.
Papers?
That's been
yeah,
beautiful.
I know the one that you've had because I've had
wonderful
her too,
hygienist.
Right? The wonderful one.
She plays Zen music.
Uh-huh.
It's so peaceful in her little room. She's nice. She gets it done quick. She doesn't lecture you.
Uh-huh.
So I sign up for her every time. I know that I do. But today, she was back. The one that all three of us have had
and
don't enjoy.
No.
She comes out to get me and she calls my name and I'm just like, is there another Drew Kaiser in this room? I didn't know there was another person named because that ain't my hygienist.
I would have had to leave.
She said, "Oh, there you are. It's been a long time." Got me in her chair.
And you only thought
started grinding
not long
away.
enough.
Blood was going everywhere.
She had both of her feet on your shoulders. She was just tearing it.
She was giving me lectures about flossing
Right. And that you needed to use the double woven.
So I did something. This is shameful. This is shameful, but I dropped the pee bomb. I said, well, you know.
You peed your pants during the dental visit?
No.
I mean, I can understand you doing that.
If it get me out of this, I would have. But I said, you know, I can't. I have a hard time flossing because of the Parkinson's.
Yeah. Well, if you can get that, I'm just saying, if you could get the floss
you
in
don't
there,
know how it is.
you could floss it really good.
I said,
It's just getting it in there.
I said, you don't know how it is.
I
I
bet
said,
that shut her up, didn't it?
Yeah. She's like, well, no, she had alternatives. Well,
yeah.
you got a water pick. You can use a
Dental
fuzzy toothpick.
Come over to my house and I'll floss for you.
Yeah, you come in every 3 months. We can make an appointment. And I just thought, but this is going from bad to worse.
You know, that room that this individual works in is the only dental operatory cleaning room I've ever seen that has like chains in there and like chain mail and hammers and
splatter patterns on the wall.
I was in at that dentist office one time getting my teeth cleaned and she was like, the pneumatic tool's not going to work anymore. I need the gas powered. I mean, it was
pulling people out in a gurney.
Yeah. I'm like, will you not use the belt sander on my molars, please?
I need a transfusion in room 2, please.
Hey, the reason I changed my dental provider is largely because of that. And
I had her today.
The hygienist I had today is wonderful. I mean, I pick on her about like poking me but she did a great job.
I mean, I wanted to call as soon as I got home. I wanted to call them back and say, "How did this happen?
Yeah,
like what has?
Can
happened?
I have my money back?
What? She says.
Just
well, I'm looking at your chart here, and
what have I done?
She said, "I haven't worked on you since 2017. That's odd."
And I was like, I've been avoiding you.
Well, let me tell you something. Listen to episode 42. of passages, and you'll get a full explanation.
Now, did Willy Wonka give you a pass today?
The sun.
You saw the sun. Okay.
Well, you're burning all the bridges with the local dentist.
I love him. Great guy.
I don't think it's going to be really tough for people to decode this one. I mean,
if you've been to one specific dentist and had this one specific person, you know. And if you know, you know.
That's right. Yeah. So let us know if you've experienced something similar to what we've been through. Yeah.
But is there any other doctor's visits that really make you nervous and apprehensive going to more than the dentist?
That you want to talk about on this?
Hey, we can talk about whatever.
I don't like going to the doctor at all.
I really
not
don't
in general, but I mean, I would say that not that gives me anxiety like the dentist does.
Really,
I mean,
and I always
you just know that you're going to hurt. I mean, you know, a lot of doctors you go to. I mean, I go and have to have wax extracted from my ears every 3 months, you know, and I'm getting a tube next Tuesday. That's very exciting. Me and the other 3-year-olds in the facility. So
they're like, that's the oldest kid I've ever seen at the pediatrician.
I'm supposed to give this kid a lollipop?
Look at him, special guy.
Good big fella.
Now, so that broke me up.
These jokes would hurt if I could hear.
Yeah. Oh man. But anyway, I just wanted to share that just to get y'all's thoughts on that. And I cannot believe you went. What time did you go today?
2:00.
All right, I was at 12. So
I'm next week.
But I went to the chicken dentist.
I don't know if I'm.
Don't be a chicken.
I will let you know if
chickens don't have teeth.
If I get Dr. Destructo.
Well, if they ever say to you, hey, you probably need an implant, read about it first, because it's a lot of work goes into those things.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But, you know, you did the 5 years. I did 10 years off.
Oh, yeah.
And it ended with root canal.
Troy belt pressure washer.
You know, some crowns.
This is a PSA.
And deep cleaning, which...
Don't you like that?
The best I can remember involves them taking out each tooth and
shining
cleaning
it
and
individually.
putting it back in, right?
I've had that deep clean. They call it a debridement.
Yeah. Oh.
I've had that.
I like how you
Lots of
you
blood.
ask them, is this going to be bad? And they give you that surreptitious look like, no, it'll be fine. And they know something you don't know.
Speaking with a German accent.
Yeah.
Why are you talking like that?
Yeah, why do you need to see my...
ways of making you talk.
Why do you need my papers? Anyway, that's really funny, though. And I try to support Leeds local, and I'm going to a dentist here in Leeds. Why do you continue to suffer? Do you enjoy the suffering?
Because the hygienist that we like
she
is wonderful.
Delightful.
But it's like playing roulette. Every now and again, you're going to dial the wrong
been
cylinder.
Since 2017.
This long national nightmare must come to an end.
I'm giving him another chance because it might have been a fluke. I made sure that I said, can I get my usual hygienist for next time? She said, oh, absolutely.
I just know now.
Let's follow back up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If I get...
it's going to be
If I get
awesome.
her, we may need to think about making a move down the street.
I'm fairly certain she's at home right now with one of those sharpening stones that have the pedals, and she's sharpening the instruments for
Old
your
school.
visit. Yeah, there's sparks coming
I see
off everywhere.
Tim Layton.
Yeah.
On the list
I know good and well he hasn't flossed
Yeah.
since I saw him last.
There will be plaque, and it will be removed. We'll get all the way to the bone if we have to.
This will be a 2-hour session.
Yeah. They're like, sir,
boy.
you can let go of the chair now.
No, I can't. I can't unwrap my fingers.
It's like
from
Jason's
around it.
devotional the other night.
Yeah.
That's right. When we had our hands.
Jason had us
clenched.
make a fist for 10 minutes.
Dude.
Yeah. And it was
like,
hard to open your hand. I made my point.
Couldn't
Yeah.
let go.
Yeah, sometime Friday I got it opened.
Yeah. Poor Bob's got to have surgery again because of it.
Put Bob in the hospital.
All right, Drew,
That's
over to
all
you.
I got, Drew. Your turn.
All right, I hope this will be interesting for you guys. Headline, California enacts law to protect brain data. A new California law extends consumer privacy protection to brainwave data gathered by implants or wearable devices. Governor Gavin Newsom over the weekend signed into law a bill amending the California Consumer Privacy Act. The state spent on GDPR in Europe. We all know about GDPR. To classify neural data as protected personal information along the lines of precise geolocation, genetics, and biometrics. Neuro Rights Foundation Medical Director Sean Pazowski called the California law an enormous victory for patients suffering from mental health disorders, as well as for consumers simply looking to enhance their lives with new technologies. The essential privacy guardrails it ensures should only boost confidence in all varieties of these revolutionary neurotechnologies, the great majority of which are based in California. California is the second state to extend data protections to brainwaves, on the heels of Colorado putting in place a law requiring privacy safeguards along the lines of what is done for fingerprints. The California law sends a clear signal to the fast-growing neurotechnology industry to protect people's mental privacy, Neuro Rights Foundation General Counsel Jared Ginser said in a release. I could go on, but
can you say that again in English?
What I think I'm reading here is we're having to make laws to protect what's going on in our heads because there are so many new technologies that will be implanted into our brains through which the potential is there to read our minds.
So, like, they could Bluetooth into your head and think, "Oh, interesting."
Know what we are thinking.
Oh, that's not good. Luckily, most of the time, if I think it, it's coming out. So that does that. But that's kind of scary technology.
The potential for devices to tap into how people feel or think has raised concerns they could be used to manipulate feelings or thoughts. So maybe they're worried about it both ways, going out and what is put into our minds. In the coming years, the sensitivity of neural data will increase alongside surging investments, resulting in increased resolution of brain scans, large data sets of brain data being collected. And then it talks about AI. Elon Musk has this Neuralink thing, which has an amazing potential to, for instance, help paraplegics walk again, or at least have some kind of movement they didn't have before. Maybe to help ALS sufferers. And there are all kinds of different directions these are going in. But it's like AI. It's all this new territory that we don't know where it's going. We don't know how far the potential will go. And we're already having laws in 2 states protecting your thoughts.
I mean, all of this, the technology. I've been taking some classes at work about AI, and basically, it's encouraging us to utilize the company version of Chat GPT, and they've loaded just so much of our data into a giant data store, and using artificial intelligence to mine out, like, if we've got questions, I work for a huge company, so there's all this information, and it's likely that it's there somewhere, right? That there's answers to the questions and stuff. And so it's really exciting in a lot of ways. But in the same way that, we've talked about like the weirdness of how our phones behave, and, things pop up that you've been talking about and all that kind of stuff. It's just...
Yeah, it's an invasion of privacy.
The misuse of some of this. And I even... We had to do some training, I think, that was related to some of that technology, and it sort of talked about the creepy factor, right? That there's a lot of things that with a smartphone you can do, because it some of the training I took talked about that you can monitor, like, if somebody's in a store and where they're walking, what they're standing in front of for a period of time. You can throw them an advertisement or a coupon or some special deal on something like that. And so there's a lot of that stuff that that happens. But you're right. It's like, where is the line between usefulness of those kinds of things, because we've all gotten things popped up, and it's like, well, that's real helpful. I was just, talking about, getting one of those, or, or I can just order it right here or whatever, versus you're really getting into my business, right? And
right.
And
the question isn't usefulness; it's useful to who.
Right.
That's right.
That's
who
right.
is using it?
And how do we define
invasive?
what is a private thought, or
Right.
what is something private to me that does not need to be?
Because it does freak me out, like when you talk into your phone. I mean, when your phone's just sitting here, right?
It's
and
listening.
clearly we're having this discussion, and then it pops up. It's like it's listening, right? And
It's a microphone. It's got a
Did you
microphone.
guys authorize your phone to do that? Did you say that was okay for it to listen to your random conversation?
At some point, you allowed a notification. You have to allow it to do that, and it's when you download these apps, and it's like, what permissions are you going to give me?
Can I use your microphone?
And we all click.
That kind of thing. Right.
Sure, I want to use the app. You can use the permissions, and then the next thing you know, Facebook's popping ads of what you talked about 10 minutes ago.
Right. But I mean,
Scary.
It's like, we don't know what technology will learn. Will it be able to, read brain waves in some kind of special way and understand something about what's in them?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be able to download your data?
We all know that God's design makes these things possible, and can man unlock some of that? It's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, we've learned a lot of things about other parts of the body.
It's like
the brain's always been a real question mark, right? I mean,
Well, it's like all these people that have done cryogenics, and instead of being buried or cremated, they've frozen themselves with the hope that one day there's some new technology that allows them to be either reanimated, or their brain to be tapped into, and somehow or another. I mean, will the potential for it happen? Who knows? I'm hoping Jesus comes back before we get to that point.
Yeah. This is creepy and weird, though, right? I mean, it's
the comment you made about that they could even be used to place thoughts. That to me, that's one of the creepiest things about it.
It's like that movie Inception, where they would put people to sleep and go into their dreams and implant thoughts. I'm thinking of all kinds of science fiction books and movies I've read through the years. They are more prophetic than we'd like to believe.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
I was listening to the radio this week, coming home from work.
Terrestrial radio?
Yeah.
You're so old.
I know. I'm an old guy. But the show that I was listening to made this comment.
Why are you so old?
I love that one too.
But this guy made a comment that machines are becoming more human, and humans are sometimes becoming more like machines. It was talking about us just, a lot of the things we talked about of sort of being robotic and tied to our technology and all that foolishness, right? Where at the same time, there are some advances in the processing of all this data out here that, some of these movies about, the robots taking over and stuff like that, there could be some reality in some of those things where we've already talked about how, like, social media has manipulated a lot of thoughts about a lot of things. We talked about that some in relation to the last election, right?
Yeah.
That there was a lot of that stuff, and a lot of it was coming from Russia, and there was a lot of weirdness that that very subtly changes what people are thinking through,
If people hear something enough, they will start to believe.
That's right.
All these companies have video rooms, and these video rooms start to take over. So I'd like to play for you the words of Jim Standridge on this, who I think hit the nail on the head.
And you wouldn't go about establishing your own kingdom in the video room.
Let's not establish
Are you listening, Brother
our
Pat?
own kingdom in the video room.
In the
Come on,
video
people.
room.
If you've never seen that rant, guys, look up that guy and watch his rant.
I think
love
we
ya.
need to do, and we'll We'll plan it, but
Yeah.
we need to do several weeks with bad preacher segments.
Oh, I follow a couple
this is
channels
your
on
idea,
YouTube. Yeah, I
so-
love me some bad preachers
That needs to come soon. I think
does.
that would be very popular.
because there is some really funny ones out there.
Hey, can I do a Yay Sports redirect?
Well, of course you can.
All right,
Tim.
because I want to throw this one out right quick because I'm afraid it'll be too old before we get to next week. So, one of my childhood heroes who then sort of fell into a sordid, situation. Pete Rose died this week.
He did.
A lot
Charlie
of people
Hustle.
died.
Dikembe Mutombo died this
Sure
week.
did, absolutely.
Chris Christopherson.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was a steel worker
Yeah. And so,
on the highway. I'm just making up words. I don't even.
I went down and down.
And again, and again, and again, and again. He's one of the highwaymen, Tim.
Yeah.
he was
Actor and
He was-
musician.
Right. He was
Only
in-
one we got left is I don't think we've mentioned this.
He was
so
in
far. Willie Nelson.
right.
Have we mentioned this, Tim?
Them other guys are getting harder to find.
Willie's running out of folks to smoke weed with, too.
Yeah. No, he's still got Kid Rock.
Sorry.
No problem.
I just thought it'd be fun to derail you again with the highwaymen.
Yeah, so Pete
And
Rose,
again.
Pete Rose.
Charlie Hustle. So, I loved Pete Rose because of the way he played the game.
Oh,
I showed Jonathan this picture the night that they announced that he died, and it's a very famous one. Y'all have probably seen it because it was probably taken a bunch of different times. He's going into third base, and he's doing a Pete Rose, right?
Yep.
It's one of the few times you've seen his forehead, right? Because his hair is blowing back
Yep.
in the wind.
And he's about a foot off the ground.
Helmet's coming
Yeah.
off.
Entire body off the ground.
Yep. The helmet is coming off.
He's sliding right.
Yep.
He's sliding head first, and he didn't. Most head first slides involve getting into the dirt. Today they have oven mitts on.
Yeah, they do.
right.
Right.
And so I was looking at this picture. He doesn't have batting gloves on.
No.
Bare hands, a foot off the ground. It was AstroTurf going into the into the square, and then the square's dirt. He is diving from the AstroTurf a foot off the ground into third base as hard as he can go.
Yep.
Right. Doesn't mind if he breaks somebody's shins when he goes in
Or breaks a finger. He's still going to play
He's still
the
gonna
next
play.
inning.
Exactly. And so I just loved the way he played the game, and he played it that way until he was like 42 years old. Of course, the problem is that he bet on baseball.
But he never
Right.
bet on his team or against his team, he said.
No, he bet on his team.
No, he said
bet
he never
against his
he never
team.
say he threw a game. Is
Right,
what he said.
that's right.
Yeah,
He did bet on his team. I don't think he ever bet against his
them.
team.
And he
Right.
said he never did anything to cut scores, shave scores, anything like that.
Right, but you can certainly get into the question of if he's got money on this game, sure he wants to win, but is he making decisions that may hurt his team?
Yeah.
I'm putting in my ace reliever, and I really need to save him for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I've got $1,000 on this game.
But he was betting on the game when he was managing, though.
He was betting on the game when he was managing, but he was a player manager.
That's true.
But
I
it doesn't
forgot
matter.
about
He was both of them, right? And that was the problem, and it is a problem, right? But he lived 40 years after that, and was basically banned from the game. They allowed him to come back to some events with the Reds a few years ago. He started doing a little bit of like commentary for the World Series or things like that. He was on a few things like that. But my question is, do you think, and part of the problem also was he lied about it for a long, long, long time. And then he finally came clean. Right. And so, I'm just wondering, does he deserve posthumously to get into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I guess
because
that's
so much of his-
meaningful to his family, but
Yeah.
he's gone now.
But that was his quest forever, right? Was to be able to,
clear his name or whatever.
right? And it, clearing his name, part of it was he had to admit what he had really done, which took him probably 30 years to do.
It took him that long?
Yeah, it was he denied it.
He denied it even after he was banned?
Yeah, for a long time.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
That it was out in the open.
And
yeah, he didn't do himself any favors.
He didn't. But you look at, he was the hit king, right? He had more hits than anybody else in Major League history. He's a absolute shoe-in first ballot.
So do they count those records?
Yeah.
So his records have not been expunged.
Right.
If you look at are you saying he's number one in hits?
Number one in hits. He passed Ty Cobb late in his career. And so he has over 4,000 hits in his career. And,
Still.
And
wow.
Right. And so he's still the leader, and likely, not a lot of people play 20 plus years, and, getting 200 hits in a year is a huge deal, right? So he'd have to do 200 hits for 20 years to get to 4,000 hits. So it's unlikely that it'll be broken. It's complex because, betting and in today's world, betting is getting closer and closer to the game, right? They sponsor and they feed a lot of money now into those games. It's really easy. There's apps for your phone, Bet ESPN and things like that.
Right. And it's got to be a problem already.
Got to be a problem, right? And people get suspended. Like there's been, some football players that have gotten suspended for a year for, just betting, not even on their own team or whatever. But, and I understand it's a big deal because, if you've got money on a game,
it ruins
the
whole experience.
You can affect the outcome of the game. And now, you're hitting at the purity of the game. And so, I don't know. It's a really complex question.
Life is complicated. And you get into a lot of other people, like Barry Bonds. Where does
Roger
he fit?
Clemens?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also all those steroid guys and
Mark McGwire.
And, and it's complex too, right? Because it's the whole question of, it seemed like baseball was just turning an eye. They had come out of a lot of the people during the steroid era. They were bringing the game back after a strike had happened, and there were a lot of people
watching it again.
People were, so tied up into the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire home run race, Barry Bonds and McGwire. Then after that, Barry Bonds hitting all these home runs and breaking the home run record. People were eating all of that up, and then all of a sudden, it was a problem.
Right.
And it was sort of like baseball seemed complicit in that up until the point that then all of a sudden you're going to blow the whistle and throw all these guys under the bus.
Yeah, everybody with eyeballs knew what was happening because we had watched these guys
right?
From their rookie year to this time where they're like,
and we saw this period
300-pound Hulks.
Right. It was very fun to watch, but then there was this period where you had a second baseman who was, 5'7", and he was hitting 45 home runs.
Yeah.
And it's like, this guy's jacked up for a reason, So
and you can go back to Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Absolutely.
So what was his crime?
It was about
he threw a game?
Allegedly fixing games. And I think, that one had some question to it.
That's kind of like
right?
Pete Rose a little bit. Same thing.
Yeah.
But
I'm
glad I don't have to make the
integrity
decision.
of the game, right? And so I don't know. At some point, it seems like maybe those guys, that I don't know. I don't know how big a deal it is to be in the Hall of Fame. I think it's a huge deal for these guys. It's sort of the ultimate honor for them at the end of their career.
Is. And how long did they hold out on Pete Rose? 30 years?
40. Mm-hmm.
So if they turn back on it now, what was the point of the 40 years?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's
as well.
my thought is,
and
if it was important enough to hold him out for 40 years, then don't let him in now.
As I remember it, there was also this weird little twist, and then I'll shut up talking about this, but there was this weird little twist where the guy that basically banned him from baseball, the commissioner, was this guy named Bart Giamatti. And he and Pete Rose were, basically at the point that happened, like mortal enemies. And then I think like Giamatti, I think like abruptly dies. Like, it was like unexpected and he dies. And then there was sort of like that didn't do Pete any favors, right? It didn't give Pete a chance to sort of try to reconcile that situation, to go back and apologize and admit. It just seemed like that was another factor that kept this thing going on with Pete for a long time. It's just a lot of twists and turns there.
Don't bear grudges, people.
Yep.
Nothing good comes out of it. Hey, we're back. Did you like that one? I'm changing things up tonight.
I think it worked.
I think I liked it less than the first one.
This is a little Ed McMahon.
Heyo!
Heyo!
Who's Ed McMahon?
Wait, you said you didn't like the first one, so you liked that one less than the first one?
When you brought up Ed McMahon, it made me like it more.
Okay, thank you.
And Ed McMahon was
I'll work on it.
Publishers Clearinghouse.
I was just joking.
Johnny Carson's sidekick.
I know who he was. I'm just joking.
Star Search.
Did you ever go on Star Search, Tim?
Tim got 3.5 stars.
Did you want to go on Star Search?
Why, certainly. I mean, who would?
That's what he lay awake thinking about when he went to bed at night.
Oh, man.
Jason, you got our passage for us tonight?
So this is a quote. It was in a book I was reading by an author that we actually have used her as a quote. I'm reading a Brene Brown book, and this quote popped up in one of her chapters, and she's quoting another author, writer, artist. She's quoting E.E. Cummings, and which we discovered tonight is not in a song by 311, which it's one of the most commonly misheard lyrics, because Drew and I both thought it said that.
I thought it was in the song.
I did too. So anyway, that was an aside. But E.E. Cummings says, "To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody but yourself means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting." I think I'll read it one more time because it's kind of a longer one. To be nobody but yourself in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody but yourself means to fight the hardest battle which any human being can fight and never stop fighting. I thought that was kind of really an interesting quote. It was in a chapter about, I know this is odd for me to bring up, but vulnerability, being real, being yourself. And the more I thought about it, and I underlined it and actually sent y'all the picture of the book of where I had circled and underlined it in there. I just think it's an important one today because I think the world is trying to think of the word I'm looking for, trying to form us into what it thinks we should be every day. I mean, you've got these phrases out there that are like, be yourself, be the real you. But in reality, people that are saying that are trying to conform to something in social media or something in society or in culture. And there's very few people that are actually being the real them, because the real them, the real us, the real me is probably rather boring compared to what the world thinks we should be. I don't know. I feel like we've talked in here before that be your own truth, define yourself. There's all these catchphrases and slogans out there that push for being real, being your own individual self. But in reality, I think it's everybody trying to fit some common mold that society and culture is putting on people.
Yeah. And I get what you were saying about boring, but I really think the authentic you is far more interesting than the trends of the day.
Well, yeah, and that's what,
because we've seen all that.
But
You're
I was just using that
somebody
as an example.
else.
Yeah.
But that's our fear, is that we're going to be boring. But the real you is unique and interesting and different, which is what we're afraid of, right? We're afraid of being
yeah.
different because there's like this instinct within us not to stand out.
Yes. Or not to buck the system or what is considered
We're afraid.
the common norm. Our fears keep us from doing this. And I don't think it's just our fear of being known and being exposed for who we are. I think it's a fear of not conforming that keeps us there. Because I think we are, I mean, compared to what the world says normal is, I think the three of us probably live pretty boring lives compared to what the world's idea. These people that are out there just for pleasure, just for fun, you know, we take care of our families, we take care of our friends, we believe in God. These things to the world are considered like old. I mean, they would think that our real selves are probably old, crusty, Bible thumping, and boring. But I think it is a constant battle to be our real self. And it was interesting tonight. Eli was teaching class, and he did a great job with it. And he was talking about Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or Mishael, whatever their other names are. It's funny we say Daniel using his Hebrew name.
No, why do we do that?
And then we use the Babylonian name for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. That's weird to me because we don't say Belshazzar and anyway.
I think it's because of chapter 3, though, because they go with the Babylonian names the three
and that's
men
probably where we
in
get
chapter
it from.
3.
And let's say those names are cool. But one of the things he said there is he's talking about when they were into captivity, how those 4 individuals decided to stay true to God and true to themselves. They showed integrity when everything around them was saying, you need to change, you need to conform to what the Babylonians are saying. And, you know, all of them are eventually persecuted. They survive it for standing up for God, standing for who they are, their faith, their beliefs, and not bending to what that society around them wanted. And when he said that, when he was talking about them tonight, it was like, man, that ties in pretty well with the quote. And that wasn't easy for them. These were young. I pictured them being teenagers, maybe teenagers
Seems
at this
like
point.
Yeah.
And they've got all this pressure around them from this oppressing government that has moved them into captivity, that has unified them. Is that a way to say it? Let's just say they became very unique individuals, and they had a lot of pressure to conform. One of the things Eli said today, it was like if you stood up against the Babylonians and they didn't agree with you, they just off with their head.
Well, or throw them in a fiery furnace or in a lion's den.
Yep. And these men stood up to that, and they never stopped fighting for who they were and for their faith and for their God. And I thought, wow, that was a really cool tie-in to the quote, because we had already talked about the quote earlier in the day.
Yeah.
That's a great example of the quote.
And they led, he was where he took us when he was using that example. The first request they made was, let us keep eating what we eat. Let us be us.
Yeah.
And then, and then examine the results, right? Yeah. Give us 10 days or whatever it was, right? And give us a chance to be us. And sometimes, we live in a world where people don't just say, hey, just let me be me. When you sent this quote and I started thinking about this whole idea of being nobody but yourself. Idea came to me of like people that we know that are primarily older people started coming in my mind, right? People who, we've all got some older friends who it's just really easy to gravitate to. I mean, because they're really cool. And a lot of what's really cool about them is that they're comfortable and they're easy and they know who they are, right? And they just simply, they've developed who they are, and I don't know that we ever, we might think we know who the other person is, but really the whole idea of authenticity and being who you are resides with us individually, right? I mean, we can maybe see. But it just seems like, when I see an older person, it's not like they're trying to really prove anything anymore. They are who they are. They're settled. It's things like that, just being settled and being comfortable. And those are really attractive qualities to someone you want to be around, and you want to talk to, and you want to spend time with, because you're getting something real from them, right? I mean, the whole idea of a lot of things that we run through that cause us to maybe not necessarily be all that authentic sometimes, they're past a lot of that, right? And it just brought to mind to me that this is something where a lot of examples of people, I think about, the Frank Johnsons of the world, and folks like that we've all had a big kick out of, just being around, just because they're cool. Frank was cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of, in that example, why? Well, he was good with who he was, and, and it was easy to be around, and, there would be some depth there. And I think that's where that kind of thing grows, when you're really just yourself. That's where depth grows, because you're not doing pretend stuff, and it allows you to grow.
Yeah. I think times have changed since this quote was written. I think the younger generation values authenticity more. He says, "We live in a world which is doing its best night and day to make you everybody but yourself." The pendulum may have swung with the younger generations. I'm talking the millennials and the Gen Zs, because I've read a lot about how much they value authenticity. And, I'm not on TikTok, but I had a friend try to get me on TikTok to sell books one time. And so I did a little reading into it to see if there was anything to it. And one rule that I kept seeing repeated over and over and over again is that the highest value on TikTok is authenticity. And kids can smell a fake, and they hate fakes. If they sense you're faking it, you're putting on a show, they don't like it. And one of the reasons podcasts have become so popular and people are turning away from mainstream media outlets is because the younger generations don't like all the polish and the glam. They want just authentic, flawed voices, which is good for us because this is a pretty flawed broadcast. But that was one thing. I get what he's saying. There are pressures socially. There are pressures out there that are trying to keep us from being ourselves. And then we've run into quotes similar to this. I can't bring to mind exactly what they are, but I've made this point before. And of course, we overanalyze on this program. But anytime we're talking about identity, I have to bring the identity of Christ into the discussion. It's different for us as Christians because Christ lives in me. And it's him, not me. Been crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. And I was thinking about that, but then I thought, but Jesus doesn't want us to be just copies of one another. It's not like the Minions, where we're all exactly the same.
And yellow.
I realize all the Minions aren't the same. Okay, one of them has one eye and another has two eyes. Whatever.
Kevin and Dave just got offended.
I'm sorry. My apologies. But you have passages like Romans 12, 1 Corinthians 12, where we're all members of the same body, but we have different functions. And that tells me there's diversity in the way Christ lives in each one of us. And the body imagery is probably the best illustration of what I'm trying to get at here. We all find our identity in Christ, but Christ shines through each one of us in slightly different ways. in unique ways, in beautiful ways. And a really important passage to me is 1 Corinthians 12:18, which says that God has arranged each one in the body as he sees fit. So I am who I am. I have the opportunities and talents that I have, the network of influence that I have by God's grace. And I shouldn't hate who I am, who I've come to be, as long as what I am is seeking his will. So it's a little complicated here when you start thinking about, we know we shouldn't be a fraud, but also let's not just, the phrase here is to be nobody but yourself. I think Christians would add to that.
Yeah.
That we want Christ to live in us.
Can I push back a little bit on something you said, not about Christ?
Of course.
But about the younger generations and authenticity.
Yeah.
If the younger generations have a concern to be more authentic, to be more real and true to who they truly are, why do we see such an upswing in the numbers of people that are moving towards these new, I guess, lifestyle choices, the gender neutral, the transgender, we see this big,
like, social contagion.
That's right. We see this huge growth in these numbers, and the growth is bigger in the millennial and the Gen Z group than it is in any other age group. A lot of that I do believe is societal pressure, with it being made the norm and being, maybe pressured is not the term, but encouraged. And I think there is a lot of these younger generations that are giving into that pressure and not necessarily going out and doing it just because they feel like they have to do it, but they're being persuaded by culture around them to do that.
How is culture persuading them to do it? It's telling them, be yourself.
But it's also
be your
saying,
own truth. Be yourself. And so they're like, okay.
But it's also
I respect that. I like authenticity. So who am I?
But
I'm
culture
a tomboy,
is also
so
saying it's okay for you to be this way. Culture is saying this is the new norm. This is the way you I think culture is saying this is the way you should be, or at least accepting of it, which then kind of poisons the mind. And maybe it makes them think, who am I? But are they being true to themselves when they come out with those things?
I think their minds are being poisoned.
Yeah.
But the way the poison is getting into their system is through this message: be true to yourself. Yeah. So
it's almost a deceptive message.
Yeah, they're respecting authenticity,
but they're being inauthentic.
Fed this idea that to be authentic, you need to be like everybody else.
That's exactly right.
And I think some of this goes back to the fact that authenticity. We're discussing authenticity being a good thing, but being yourself doesn't mean that, the self that you've created may not be all that great, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The fact of the matter is, don't fake that, right? Be who you are. But I think that for us, we understand where we're trying to go with this, right? We want to be in the image of God. And a lot of times that our shortcomings in that area are also our challenges to being authentic, because they're the things we're not happy about. And as a result of that, they're the things we hide.
They create shame. They create fear. Doubt.
So maybe we need to change who we really are, and be that person we've changed to conform to Christ.
Because really, the only way, I think y'all would agree with this, you tell me if you are or not, but the only way to really be comfortable with yourself is, it's not to be perfect, but listen, you got to get those habitual sins out of your life.
It's to be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
And because if there's those, because And when I say habitual sins, it's because those are so often those things that we're hiding, and we're putting this wall up, and we're playing this game.
Yep.
And until we get rid of those things, it's hard to get comfortable with living.
And the sad thing is, the only way to get rid of them is by being open and real about them. And I read, it may have been in this book, and it may have been in a book, the last book I read, but it was talking about the number one weapon against shame is talking about it in the open. That the only thing that will defeat and disarm the shame cycle that keeps us all in our secrets, all hidden away from being exposed for those habitual things, is to be willing to discuss that. And it doesn't say you go out to the world or social media and say, I have a problem with this.
Right.
But we all have, in this room, y'all are my close friends. I have a couple of others in my life that I'm super close to. I know now that if I'm in a shame cycle, I can come to you and say, hey, I'm really battling with this. Will you help me talk this out? And by just talking about it, I reduce the shame's power over myself, which now gives me an ability to get it out in the open, which gives me ability to deal with it. And, you know, you got to have those close relationships. And as the church, we're supposed to have each other. I mean, that is the purpose of the fellowship of Christians, is to hold one another accountable, to help one another go to heaven and worshiping God. And we can only do that if we're truly open about our shame, the things that are eating away at us.
Yeah.
Right. And I think a lot of that is, you know, we've got to make it okay for people to bring these things in the open. You know, there's not an expectation. The church is not a place where there's an expectation that everybody's perfect, right? We're all fighting with things. And, you know, I think we have to continue to beat that drum that we're here for one another. And I think we do a good job of it here at Asheville Road. And I think, you know, just reaching out, creating relationships with people, you know, letting people know that we're there for one another, that kind of thing, you know, makes it possible for people to feel more comfortable to deal with whatever problems they have in their life, right? And because we got a building full of folks, and that's a building full of people with problems, right? And we need to do everything we can to try to help folks go to heaven, just like you said. And a lot of that is, you know, a lot of the biggest challenges that we face are the things that we might be hiding, the sin that we might be hiding that needs to get out in the open and be dealt with, so that we can repent of it, put it behind us, live for Jesus.
And if you want to reduce stress in your life, let go of some of that stuff. I think, you know, we have a mental health crisis in the United States. Everybody knows it. It's the numbers are, I sound like Trump. The numbers, it's the worst it's ever been. But we are truly in a mental health crisis. And so much of it is triggered by anxiety, stress, and depression. And I will tell you what drives anxiety, stress, and depression. It's secrets and not being congruous to who you are. It's living these fragmented, compartmentalized lives and trying to keep all those different characters alive and well. It creates so much stress. Hey, me having a lot of problems and finally being caught and admitting some of this stuff is the most stress relieving thing I have ever done. And it's to me, it emboldens me to, when I am struggling with something, to admit it, because you know what? I don't have to carry the burden of the stress around on my back all the time, because it's out in the open. People know. I can just be me and say, yeah, I have a problem with this, but I'm working on it.
You talk about fragmented, compartmentalized lives and ridding yourself of that. That's the biblical concept of peace.
Absolutely.
Shalom, that Hebrew word shalom for peace, basically means wholeness or completeness. It's about integrity, being the same person throughout. No compartmentalization, no fragments, no masks. You're yourself. It's authenticity. It's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Being nothing but yourself.
Well, and that's where the word integrity comes from. It means whole.
But you can't be happy with yourself until Christ fixes you.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the best way of saying what I was trying to say a while ago.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Is, sure, be nothing but yourself as long as within yourself Christ is living there.
Absolutely.
If you're nothing but yourself without Christ, you're not going to be happy with that. Mm-mm. But if you're nothing but yourself with Christ living in you, that's enough.
You can claim yourself as authentic, but
You can be
you're
authentic,
not what
but
you need
something's
to be.
missing.
Right.
Something's missing.
You'll still
without
be
Christ.
searching for something.
Yeah, it's not going to get you there. All due respect to E.E. Cummings.
That's right.
Which, by the way, he always used lowercase letters for his name. So get a note out to Brene Brown. She has a typo in her manuscript there.
You know, I read
capitalized
when I was
his name.
reading about him, it said that he was very bizarre in his use of punctuation and format and things like that in his writings.
He might have written some plays, but I think he was primarily a poet.
Yeah.
And he, unlike some poets, he knew it.
Are you saying he's a poet and don't know it, but his toes show it because they're Longfellows? Is that what you're saying?
Something like that. Something like that.
On that note, we should probably wrap.
It's time to wrap
The
it
dad
up.
jokes are about to start.
It's been a fun episode. You know, between now and when we started, before we turned the mic on, I think we're a lot more alive now than when we first got in here.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, two of us had been to the dentist today, so
yeah. That
It's amazing
explained the
that we got this
depression
far.
when we got in here. Yeah. Well, and this podcast allows us to kind of unload some things and
Yeah.
you know, drop some burdens off.
we have to wait till everybody goes to bed and gets out of the building. But we
right.
finally
Yeah,
get a point where we can
That's right.
we can
That's right.
unload some burdens and be nothing but ourselves, which feels good. And it feels good that you're listening and that you're telling your friends. We know you are. We know that's who our fan base is. We know you're out there telling people. And we know that you love this, and you're probably getting your phone out right now and punching a 5-star rating
5-star.
and writing the most eloquent review, or maybe just a couple sentences or a word.
And
Like,
hitting that
awesome.
share button so that you can share it on your social media.
I know you're doing it, so I don't need to say anything. I don't need to encourage you to do this. You're already doing it. And so I think I'm just going to sign off and say, see you next time on Passages. Oh, I've done it again.
See you next time on Passages.
Follow us on Instagram at passages_podcast. And join us next time on Passages.